Mom and Tom. Two passionate and busy moms sharing their quest to achieve entrepreneurial success.
This is Ariella Vaccarino and
Theresa Ofstad.
yes, and we are working on our name. That's part of our process.
Yes,
I've
yes.
got Journey to Success. You have Mommy's on a Mission. What did you have?
I did have Mommy's on a Mission, but there are some podcasts already up
Oh, yeah.
under that. So we're coming up
We're
with the
working on
name.
it. We're working
coming
on
up
the
with
name.
But bottom line, we are two moms
Yep.
who are on an entrepreneurial journey.
That's
I
right.
can't even say that word.
Should we say it together?
Entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah, right.
But we are two moms on a mission to better lives for ourselves,
Yep.
for our family,
Yep.
bring more income, make a difference in this world,
Right.
following passions, and just wanting to kind of share our journey with everybody.
Yeah, because also I think it'll help us be accountable if we're doing this and people are depending on us. Maybe we'll actually follow through with it.
Yes.
Because there's a lot of that. And what I do want to say about Theresa and I is that Theresa and I are on completely different journeys. We're not coming from the same space, nor are we going to the same space.
Nor have we had the same experiences in life.
We're actually extremely different people.
Extremely.
Yeah, which is what makes it so interesting.
Yes.
But we have come together on this common mission. And do you want to talk about a little bit what your mission is or your story?
So I have, because of Ariella, I have taken a huge leap of faith. And I love it because I was in a moment of my life when I was contemplating the next phase and, just randomly speaking to Ariella at a basketball practice that our sons or families are involved in. Sons and daughters.
Incredible basketball team that her husband runs that I am beyond passionate about. Just put it out there.
Yes, called Hype.
Hype! Let's go hype!
So just talking to Ariella, and she said, sometimes you need to leap and then the net will appear. Mm-hmm. And that was so powerful for me. Mm-hmm. And this has kind of started our little entrepreneurial,
that's right,
partnership journey together, because I did take a huge leap of faith. As soon as I gave my notice at work on September 1st,
wow,
a full-time, good, decent paying job, had been making more in my life previously. So, but good job, benefits, loved the people, loved the staff. There was nothing that told me I had to leave. I just kept feeling this calling, this mission, this journey that I'm meant to do that I was not currently doing. And I took a huge leap of faith, gave my notice without anything set up in advance, and text Ariella right away.
Oh, I was so excited.
I did it. I leapt. I just hope my net will appear.
Yes, it will.
And sure enough, it did.
Yeah.
I decided to start my own business, helping seniors find a place to live, working with families to find the best options for them. Mm-hmm. And without even trying or marketing, just organically, my cousin called me up and said, "Hey, I need help finding a place for mom and dad. Can you help me?" And it was so divine timing that I knew I was making the right choice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that just happened out of nowhere. It was just waiting for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how would you have had the time, if you hadn't have left your job, do you think you would have had the time to dive into that as you did?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have focused on it. Mm-hmm. And, because it's been years in development. It's been years in my brain, in my heart. And I have developed other areas of educational journey that is leading me down this path that I always knew, okay, this is what I want to do, but when? When's the timing? Right. When can I do it? I've got family. Yeah. I've got, work. I've got, so many things going on in my life that are important as well, but they became distractions. Mm-hmm. And so by taking this huge leap of faith, I am now opening my time to be able to focus on this.
Yeah. And that's really hard to do because also, financially, it's one thing to do it if we're being funded, but financially, your family's depending on you as one of the breadwinners.
Yes.
So it's actually quite scary. I really commend you for trying this,
Thank you.
That's really, and I just want to make a point that I did not make up the quote, leap in the net leap and the net will appear. It is something that I read years ago in a Julia Cameron book, The Artist's Way, and it's stuck with me ever since. So I say it a lot, but I don't want to take credit for it. I think it was an anonymous quote, but I just want to make sure nobody is claiming that I created that amazing quote. But to me, it's a life-changing kind of quote.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And what I have learned the last few years is that, you know, when these things hit you, share them, because you never know how you're going to impact someone's life. I was just about to say, and got sidetracked, you know, Tony Robbins does say, where your focus goes, energy flows. And so again, by me taking this journey and making this decision, I'm now able to focus on what I've been wanting to do for a really long time, and know that it's something that is highly needed in this world. And it is a massive amount of service that I will be providing to people, and developing other paths along the way as well. So it's really exciting and fearful.
Yeah, I'm sure your husband is like,
Some
what are you doing? What are
anxiety.
you doing?
Some anxiety, but more excitement,
Yeah.
and just knowing that it truly needs to happen.
Right. So your focus really has to do with seniors and providing services, and you have a dream of opening a nonprofit as well, right?
Yes.
Called Fuller Life,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And, you know, these things are also incredible. Nothing like what I do or have ever done or know anything about.
Yes.
But, you know, we found ourselves taking walks around the track during the basketball sessions, and we would get in these conversations, and she would listen to what I was into, and I would listen to what she was into. But we did have a common thread, and that was that she and I both had passions that were waiting yet to be fully fulfilled, right?
Yes.
You know, we'd been dabbling in them, but we hadn't really gone for it.
Yes.
And we're mommies, and our kids are getting older, and, you know, we're both not set up for retirement yet, you know, and we're running out of time. You know, we're running out of time. I mean, we only have one life.
100%.
Yeah.
I have so many things going on that we will share more about.
Absolutely.
But let's get to you, Ariella.
Oh, I'd love to. So
Because everybody needs to know how amazing Ariella is as well.
Oh, thank you.
Do so many things, and let's hear more about what your passion is.
Well, you know, for me, I come from an artist background. I was an opera singer and a performer, and really it was my main focus of my life. And then I found myself in a change of life. My mother died. I got married, and all of a sudden I was pregnant. And these are all wonderful things, and that kept happening 5 times. And now I have 5 children. And it's funny because I was never on track to get married and have 5 children, but that is how my life went. And it was really kind of a huge shock for me, because I was such a dedicated opera singer. Like, that was the end goal. And, you know, and I fell into motherhood. So I love it. I love my children. And I really just sacrificed that other part of myself for a really long time, but willingly.
Which, by the way, we always wanted to have 5 children as well,
Yeah.
because, of course, my husband would love to have an entire basketball
Of course.
team in our own family.
Yeah.
But we have 1, so that is a little bit of difference, but again, similarities that we're both moms, raising children, and having a family, and
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. And so then I just kept going. I changed my performance quest, and I became a teacher. I created a line of CDs and books called Voice Lessons to Go. Did very well. Been teaching piano and voice for years. COVID hit, and I really shut down. You know, that's definitely not an ideal time for a voice teacher. And I started working, doing some other job that didn't suit me at all. I'm no longer in that job, and I'm kind of coming back and trying to figure out, well, what do I do now? You know, what do I do now? I've got some passions. I'm passionate about music. I'm passionate about mommies finding their creativity and helping them unlock that magical thing within them. And we're working on it together. It's really exciting.
And I remember you were telling me that you wrote a book, and you had these CDs, and you have had successes in the past that you wanted to get back to.
That's right. And unplanned successes, which is something I'm really starting to learn about myself. You know, we can sit and plan and plan and plan. But for example, my voice lesson CDs, I literally decided on a whim's notice. Back then, it was a 4-track that you would record on, and my friend had a 4-track. I borrowed it, and I thought, you know, I've been teaching voice lessons hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. Let me just record them. And I didn't have a music studio. I didn't have the money to do it. I put blankets on my windows. I lived on a very busy street. You can even hear in the background, you can hear dogs barking slightly. You can hear cars driving by. And I recorded them, and I've sold over 100,000 of them, a few 100,000 of them. It was never the plan. It was just something that I did because I knew how to do it. And it just goes to show, sometimes you just got to do it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I find amazing about you. And that's why I love our little connection here, because we do motivate each other. And I do want to commend you. We're on this path, and we've been meeting for a couple weeks now together, and we're taking this course. There's this module which just again kind of came to me.
Yes,
in perfect timing that I was sharing with Ariella. I said, you know what? I just purchased this course from Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi called Mastermind.com. Yeah. Well, the platform is Mastermind.com, and this course is teaching you how to launch your own business on there. And we were just talking, and I said, oh my gosh, this would be perfect. Let's do it together. Yeah. Let's talk about what you're passionate about. We'll talk about what I'm passionate about, and we'll see what we can put up on the site to start selling courses. We're a little more than halfway through. And here I am trying to prepare and write lots of notes and lots of ideas of what I think I will be working on. Yeah. And all of a sudden, Ariella's like, hey, I'm launching 2 courses next week, starting for 6 weeks. And here, help me launch it. She's already started today is Friday. Yeah. So she's already done 2 of her classes this week.
Last Thursday night, I got it in my head that I was going to start a group singing class. I was going to start a group improv class. And I just did it. But that's how I work, But it took what I was doing with you to push me. Watching those courses was churning it inside of me. But I am the kind of person that I can only listen for so long, and then I got to do something. Yeah. Or I explode.
And that's exactly what they're teaching us.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, take action, massive action.
Yeah.
I've been following lots of leaders over the last few years. That's it. Massive action. Yeah. And action leads to, more action and progress and happiness and fulfillment and all that good stuff.
What was crazy about today is, I will say what was missing for me when I had this company, Voice Lessons to Go, what was missing for me, is I had no one to work with, right? I actually don't do well on my own. I really do great if I'm leading. I can take a group and I can start something. I'm really good at that stuff, but I need people with me, and I've been missing out on that for a long time. And, for the longest time, I've thought about starting a podcast or making some different courses. And because of our conversations, here we are, and also I'm a procrastinator, which I've learned to understand. I have ADD. I get it. I do a lot of amazing things, but I'm also really hard at planning things out. But because I knew you were showing up today, I had ordered all this recording equipment weeks ago, hadn't even taken it out or set it up. But because I knew you were coming, and because I said, let's try and launch our podcast, I had to do it.
Yes.
So, and it all these things I hadn't planned for, the USB cable into the Mac connection, I had to find all of these things. But there was a new microphone, but now I'm set up. I've got the table. We've got this whole thing. Great setup. Now there's no excuse. There's no excuse for me not to make my podcast, our podcast, any recording. Yeah. And that's the magic of our relationship, because you're also a real planner. And so maybe my, bursts of energy are going to help push you into action.
100%. Yeah. I was just going to say that too, that I do plan. I do, I want to say I'm not a perfectionist, but at the same time, I feel like my actions lead that maybe I am a perfectionist. But
you're definitely a thinker through.
And I'm trying to definitely get things set up the way they should be. And, it's a lot of planning, a lot of, thinking, and not as much action. So Ariella is great at making me take action. Today.
That's a good combo.
And, earlier this week, we've been connecting with each other, texting each other on where we are in the modules in this course. And she's like, did you start module, where are you? And I said, I started module 4.2. And she goes, did you start it? Did you finish it? And I'm thinking, oh no, I haven't even started it yet. And then now I'm already finished module 4.7. And she's like,
didn't even,
I'm barely at 4.3.
Yeah, totally. But I was busy starting my groups,
Of course.
And I actually like, from this thing that we're listening to, how they talk, you can't just keep gaining knowledge. I don't remember exactly how he said it. Knowledge doesn't really do anything for you. Yes. It has to lead to action. On the opposite, maybe I need to get more knowledge sometimes. But for example, this simple class that I set up, for a long time I've been wanting, years I've been talking about teaching improv. And I literally sent a flyer out Thursday night saying next Thursday class is going to start. I put it out there and this is on the smallest scale, and it's kind of a test of what I want to do on a much larger level. I put it out there. I set a class. I didn't have anyone who was going to be in that class. And I put it there, and I filled it, and I did it. And that's, sometimes we just have to set it, and we just have to make it that we have to do it, you know? And so I think it's a good example. We can't always plan. I mean, I could have sent out flyers. I could have surveyed people, see if they wanted to do it. And this is a very simple, small example, but sometimes you just have to build it.
100%.
Yeah.
And even today, we have no notes written. We have no topics we were going to discuss.
You should see what we look like.
Yes. I did take a selfie, but I don't know. We'll see if that gets posted anywhere.
Yeah.
But it's just amazing because, again, nothing's planned. This entire conversation is organic. But
Off the hook, totally.
I hope you can hear our excitement. And
Yeah.
this is what each week has been for us. And that's why we knew we needed to share this with other people because I don't want people to sit like me and just plan and not do.
Or imagine
what life could be.
Yeah.
But imagining it your entire life and not making it happen is something that we need to correct and, move forward and make the next phase of our life amazing.
Yeah.
So we're doing this together
Yeah.
and super excited about it. And I think we make a great team. There's lots of our pros and cons are coming together, and helping each other out in the areas that we need improvement and our strengths.
Yeah, and the truth is, we really don't know what we're doing. We're just doing it, and I think there's so many people out there. I think if you can imagine something in your mind, if you're thinking about it, it's probably something you can do. You're just not able to, or not letting yourself do, or not risking to do. But those people that make it in life, it's because they let themselves do it, and I think it's hard because we're mommies. It's very hard to find time.
Yes.
But we're looking to make the podcast because I think there's a lot of you out there that feel exactly like us. And we're not the professionals. We're not the Tony Robbins, We're just, we're people who have something special inside of them and we want to get it out before we die. I know that, I don't mean to be all dramatic, but it's like, time is like, we're here for only so long.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'll share more about my journey maybe on the next podcast. But through the last 4 or 5 years, I have been on a lot of challenges, especially since 2020 and the pandemic hit. It seems like there's so many challenges out there now from thought leaders that, it can be overwhelming. And it does at times flood my email inbox of, take this course, take that course. And at times I have to say, I can't, I have to focus on, other things. But I have been really blessed with the people that I've come across. One of the people, Prince something, I forget his name, but he's on YouTube and he talks about this. He talks about the most expensive place in the world is the graveyard. Because there are so many people who've had dreams and missions in their life that never fully developed. Yeah. And, it was a huge shocker when I heard that, but it's so true.
Yeah.
And it kind of made me feel like, well, I feel so passionate about this mission, I can't let it just not happen. Yeah. It's so important for people in this world and came to me in a time that I was really down. I was going through a lot of, stuff with my dad, and it became a distraction for me, but it also became this huge mission that just kept developing in my mind and in my heart. So I knew I needed to do it. And but at the same time, I knew that I wasn't ready to start it. I had a lot to learn. I had a lot of people that I was already connected to that I needed to connect with to make this journey happen.
Right.
Things like taking entrepreneurial training programs, things like connecting with some of my mentors who help with small businesses and all sorts of training and lessons and things that I've gone through the last few years.
But you've done the trainings. We've trained.
Yes.
Trained?
I've trained. I'm well trained.
Yes,
now we
trained.
need to move forward, inclling Toastmasters.
Yes.
And
I've never met someone so trained.
I know, right? Overprepared.
Yeah.
Now it's time for the action. Yes. But all you Toastmasters out there, if you've probably already heard some ahs and ums from me. I have gotten better over the years. But again, this is so organic that people tend to use those things as crutch words, and as you're thinking of things, you tend to lean on those crutch words. Yeah. But moving on.
Yeah. And I'm the opposite. I've had no training in anything like this, but it's something I've always been very comfortable doing. If anything, I feel like I have started training myself not to do it over the past few years, past many years. Because when I was young, maybe because I was an only child and I was a talented performer, and I was always just so comfortable and expectant to win at whatever I made my attempts at. I was comfortable talking in front of thousands of people. I have no fears in any of those kind of areas. And as the years went on, people started telling me why things couldn't work. People started telling me, oh, you can't do it like that. Oh, you can't make a CD and not go through a publisher. Or you can't, I'm like, oh, but I did it. Oh, yeah. But I did it. And then, as I started having kids and as I started getting tired, I started to believe the nonsense of having to do things in a certain way and to follow a certain pattern, and there's only these types of people are going to make. And the great things about listening to those sessions with you with Tony Robbins, it's he just kind of unlocked it, and I'm like, wait, that's how I used to think all the time. It's not even that I have to learn what he's saying. I just have to remember who I am, because I was like that.
Yes.
I just did it and it worked. And I want to find that, and I want to teach that to my kids too.
Yes.
So
that's what I feel. Everything that I do in life is teaching my son. And what lessons do I want to be teaching him? Do I want to teach him the lesson that it's great to dream but never follow through?
Right.
And that's one of the things I always encourage him to do, is to dream and work towards that goal.
Yeah.
So, I'll just be honest. He wants to be an NBA player.
Yeah.
He's gone through quite a few setbacks the last few years. He tore his meniscus. He had to have surgery. But he still keeps this dream. Yeah. And I encourage him to keep that dream. I never want to tell him plan A and plan B.
Right.
Backup plan, because that means that plan B is not as important. And that can be great too.
Yeah.
So what I have told him lately is, you keep that dream and you work on something else for now. This will be your for now plan.
Yeah.
And then your bigger goal, your bigger dream, you just keep working towards it.
Yeah.
And, there's been times in my life that's been the case, especially the last few years. I've had this huge dream, but in this process of developing that, I knew how to do other things.
That's right.
And so what things am I going to do in life that will help supplement that dream?
That's right.
And that's where I ended up going from hospitality before the pandemic. I worked for Los Angeles Tourism and Convention Board for 8 years, helping meeting planners and event planners come to the city of LA. It was a fabulous job that I had dreamed of retiring from one day.
Yeah.
Until this dream hit me, as well as the pandemic, and then I made that big switch and knew that what I wanted to do was going to be more in the line of senior living.
Yeah.
So I did a complete switch, and I went into senior living instead, knowing that whatever job I currently had was only going to give me more experience with seniors.
That's right.
Was going to give me that connection to them to truly find out what they need and develop that plan even more for later on when I build my foundation.
And your passion, I have so much respect for it. I mean, to want to work with seniors and to help them, it is such a humbling, kind service. Pretty incredible of you that you want to do something like this. It's a difficult thing to do.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I truly feel like, seniors, they've lived such amazing lives. They have so much to share with people. Yet there's many times, don't get me wrong, many of them have very supportive families, but many of them have either outlived family or families moved away or for whatever reason, they just don't have people to connect with. And they kind of get left behind. Yeah. And, having this wonderful life, you want to share that information with people, and then being left alone is just... it's just not right. So, so there's a lot that I've learned along the way that they need help with.
Yeah. When I hear it, it makes me think about just how everybody has something special inside them that's unique. This is a very unique thing about you. And when we've been looking at all these different, what we call them, educational helpers to self-help people, what fascinates me about them is how they unlock this thing in them. And it's what we're here to do. And I think reason we're even thinking of making a podcast is we want other, mainly mommies, I would think. It's kind of other women, mommies, who have something inside of them like this and to join us on this journey and to hear from them.
Yeah.
You know,
100%.
because so many of us.
Yeah. No, we would love feedback. We would love connection, community connection to a group of moms. But I don't want to just stop there either, because even though that is our niche, those are the people that we're thinking of while making this. You never know who needs to hear this message.
That's right.
Who is going to be inspired by something we've said that's going to open up something in them. And that can be anybody.
Yeah.
And even with my foundation, that's my goal, is to have a niche. But if anybody needs that help or service, right. I would never want to shut them out in any way. So everyone's welcome.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone's welcome to listen to our podcast.
So I think we should probably try and wrap episode 1 for today, where I can't even believe we got through it this far. We'll go through and make some edits, and if you could just be kind to us and know that we're beginners, and we're not fancy yet, but we're very excited. And if we can go back, a year from now, if we stick with this, I keep saying if, but even though I want to make sure we do, we will. Okay.
There's no ifs.
All right. We will stick with, and we will see how far we've come, because there's so many areas that you and I are trying to develop in our lives, and we can talk about them every week, and we can talk about, going backwards, going forwards, what we're using to train ourselves, what we're jumping into. I would love to hear back from our audience, if we have an audience.
Our wonderful audience.
And, this is going to make us accountable. And I want us all to go on a journey to be our best selves.
100%. Yes. And our future podcasts will share more about a lot of the things that we have been through, a lot of the things that I've learned. Share. All these thought leaders, they don't want you to keep it to yourself. They want you to share it. So I'm happy to share a lot of the things that I've learned through the way. So
and if I know we're talking once a week, I'm going to be forced to burst into my actions, and that's what's going to be good for me, and I'm going to share those things with you.
Yes, every week we need to be accountable and share what we've done throughout the week.
One step at a time.
Yep.
So thanks for joining us.
High five.
All right, we're Mommy's on a mission, journeying to success, and we are going to figure out our name, and we're going to lock it in hopefully by next week.
Entrepreneurial journey.
All right.
Mom and Tom, two passionate and busy moms sharing their quest to achieve entrepreneurial success.